What is going on, everybody? It's JT here with JT Invests in You, and we have a great show. Of course, we got the gang together today. We've got David over at Crypto for Change. We've got C. Will over at the Passive Income Network. For
What's
those of
good?
you that are watching, throw your chats down in the chat. Let us know what you want us to discuss, what questions you want answered, and so forth. We're gonna keep this one pretty short. C. Will's got a little bit of a time limit, but yeah, let's make it happen. What are you guys seeing out there?
What's going on, everybody?
Oh, what's good?
From EthDenver, I feel like there was a lot of big announcements that we had coming up the last week. So obviously, I've been bullish. I've been buying. I posted a few of my buys on Twitter, over the past few weeks. But I still have quite a bit of money. I'm waiting to see if we dip down, and if Algorand dips a bit lower, I'm gonna scoop up some. Hopefully under maybe 80 cents. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I picked up more algos. Like I'm saying, I'm kind of exclusively Algoranding for a little while until we get a lot of more clarity in the ecosystem with some of these tokens.
Right.
But it looks like Yieldly, just off the top, coming a little strong. They have put all those staking pools on there, and I feel like it's good that they followed up on their words. And some of those tokens I researched are pretty solid.
Yeah, I've actually, they got they put out the list of the ones I guess that'll be coming next week. There'll be 5 more. I don't own, but maybe a little bit of one of them. It's actually one of the community coins, Knee Coin, which is like a cat version, I guess you could say, of the Inu stuff.
Hmm.
But I did think that, Weblin, when that one launched, that one was from what I remember hearing about it on Twitter, it was a pretty botched launch as far as the token,
That's what
getting
I
out.
heard. Yeah.
But then I did a little bit of research and looked on their website. That one actually seemed pretty cool, just as an idea. Now I still haven't done all the due diligence on the team and doing all that dive on them, but just the idea of what they're bringing is pretty cool. Obviously, they're not one of the community coins. They're just so I think that it shows that they're actually building something that's not just trying to get people to kind of gather around mentality and whatnot. But I'm actually interested to see, what are you guys doing when it comes to yieldly staking? I've been just adding most of mine into the liquidity pools on Tinyman, and then earning the most yieldly that I can each day.
That's smart. Yep.
That's pretty much what I've been doing.
Yeah, that's how I like to play the game. Like I'm a farmer, so I farm the coins and I look for high yield. And I know for me, I look at them as short term plays because asset like Yieldly or like one of my favorites still is HDL because it's been holding up solid in price. But for something like that, converting the rewards over to HDL or a Yieldly is a powerful move, I think.
Yeah,
What about
I
you,
agree. I
JT?
mean, I really haven't been doing too much except for really just farming rewards, as you guys said. And I've got Yieldly in about 2 different pools, and then I've just been farming my stable coins over at AlgoFi and growing that cash position. And honestly, one of the great things about one of the staking rewards on AlgoFi is I'm also rewarded Algorand, so I'm slowly building that Algorand position too. I haven't done any buying, honestly, in probably 2 or 3 weeks. I'm trying to pull up a chart right now, but for some reason the screen share won't happen right now. But yeah, I haven't done any buying over the last 2 or 3 weeks. I'd like to start buying again soon, but I'm not confident that we're done seeing the pain. So I've been holding off.
Trying to time that bottom. So let me ask you this, because I remember back when Yieldly first launched, obviously everyone was super excited. It was the first DeFi platform on Algorand. Prices were, at least when I found it, which was very close to when it launched. You were looking at 0.006, 0.005, and now we're at 0.007. Obviously, a very different sentiment in the market where it's bearish instead of bullish, but there's still the overall, what Yieldly is doing is, and they're doing it, to what we were expecting at the beginning of January before the whole Tiny Man thing happened. And then everything kind of got, out of whack, and there was more FUD with them, probably launching Yi Sports just because they were
Yeah.
excited about that because they couldn't really do all the pools because Tiny Man was down. So what is your all's thoughts right now with where we're seeing the price action? Is this a buy zone for Yieldly, or are we still is it going to bleed a lot more? Because it's right back where it was at the start.
Me personally, I think the bleeding it will stop, but I don't think that we're gonna get what we thought was gonna happen, like a 1 cent yieldly or something like that. I feel like it might be around this bottom little range for a while. Um, that's my opinion.
Yeah, and something to consider, even though we are getting back to those original prices, we are still far away from the original market cap. And that's partially
Mm.
because a lot more tokens are in circulation than when Yieldly started because of all the rewards that Yieldly has given out. Um, so, I mean, I'm not convinced that we can't inch closer to that original market cap, which would mean a lower price token.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
How
espe-
much? Let's see. How much of the market or how much of the supply is out there right now?
a good amount at this point. I'm not sure the exact amount.
Let me see
Let's
if I can
see.
find it real quick.
Yeah, Yearly is definitely interesting, and it still doesn't have much competition. Well, I looked at Algo Stake, so if y'all got an opinion on that, let me know. But in terms of getting a yield on your coin on Algorand, I still almost don't see nothing better. I like Algo 5, but it's still smaller yields in terms of stable coin.
Well,
So I
Tiny
think it
Chart
still
says
has.
it's 99.99% circulating supply is out.
Oh yeah, Tiny Charts is wrong on
That's
that though.
wrong. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's got to be
I
wrong.
wish it
Yeah,
was.
yeah,
Well, if it was, then they'd have no more tokens to give out in
That's
rewards.
probably
So
true.
there's
But
you
then we
also
had,
don't wish that.
then they start talking about that burn that we I saw mentioning with
It's four and a half billion are out right now, according to CoinGecko, and they get their information right from Yieldly. There's actually a
so
link
so
that
they got 10 billions of total, if I'm correct.
yeah, so almost
yeah,
almost 50%.
yeah, 45% circulating. I forget what they started out at. I wonder if this will show it. Let's see.
It was something small like 8%, maybe even less.
Yeah, it was a $10 million market cap July, late July when they launched, and we are at 35 million right now. So we're,
So it
we're
did
still
3x,
we're still
but
three
it
and a half
diluted.
x the market cap. Yeah, but that's because of the dilution.
Yeah.
Exactly,
Hmm.
exactly.
But
Yep.
that
Yeah.
also still
Okay.
put it, it's still keeping it in in a good range to start accumulating as the months go on, especially if we're still bullish that, Yieldly could still see, which is what I was saying at the beginning of the year before, a lot of the FUD and a lot of stuff we've seen happen was I was expecting Yieldly to be at 10 cents by the end of this year. Now,
Yeah.
obviously,
Yeah.
a lot of that's going to depend upon, I feel like, the overall Algorand ecosystem. But with what we just saw at EthDenver, with the big grant given out to bridge to Ethereum, and with the whole idea of state proofs and just a lot more volume starting to flow into the Algorand ecosystem, just with the other DeFi platforms that are coming up, like I still think it can happen. It's just the overall market, I feel like, could weigh on some of these smaller, layer ones with their, with them growing as fast. I think, I still think to see that we're going to have to see the big run of, we'd have to see Bitcoin flip and start running to, close to new all-time highs, I feel like.
Yeah. When you mentioned C3 protocol, that one, the $10 million grant is a game changer because it does put Algorand in that Polygon position now where we could become a layer two. And that's where it's got to be where our volume
Yeah.
will actually come from. Not from new users. New users will come, but I'm thinking the Ethereum is where everybody's focus should be. And Algorand is smart for doing that.
Yeah. And I feel like institutions would see the, affordability, the security of it, the scalability of it, and then they would want to put more money in, because like right now they don't want to do it with Ethereum because there's too much in gas fees and all the other
Yep.
issues that ETH's already having.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah, in the short term, it's a really good idea to focus on interoperability with Ethereum, at least in this way. Um, in the long run, I'm not entirely sure if it matters too much. I mean, at least the idea of porting liquidity over from Ethereum, just because, like in the short term, it'll be great because there's obviously enough liquidity out there. But if you compare the amount of liquidity that's in the real world versus Ethereum, it really doesn't
Yep.
matter. Ethereum's liquidity is a blip on the radar
Yeah.
compared to the
Facts.
potential that's out there that we could get before, ever before any of that liquidity reaches Ethereum. It could come straight to Algorand. So there's a lot more
That's
fish in the
true.
sea, I suppose you could say. I mean, and Chris Swenner of Reach put it a perfect way when he was talking about developers, because I brought up a similar point, but just regarding developers and talking about how we can pull developers from the Ethereum ecosystem. And he said, why even put that much focus on trying to grab the tens of thousands of developers that are in Ethereum when we could focus on grabbing the millions of developers that haven't even entered the blockchain space yet. And I thought that was a great
Facts.
point, you know?
Yep.
Yeah, that's actually a great truth because the space is only growing. Tech is undefeated, other than real estate. You know, the two longest standing, technologies and stuff. But damn, that's a great point. What he did bring up, smart guy.
You got Scaramucci's about to finish his book hopefully soon. That'll get out and get people reading. Seeing more good things about Algorand from a perspective of someone who, it's big money, big investing money that could come in, and it already has come into the ecosystem. What tokens right now, what ASAs are you guys bullish on when it comes to the Algorand ecosystem? Are you guys just mainly obviously I know you said you're not really buying, but just with your staking on Yieldly and your yield farming and what you guys are doing, are you guys trying to collect any one certain crypto, or or ASA, or are you just, swapping everything for algo?
You go. I'll go first. I didn't realize you were doing
go ahead. Yes. Fuck my life.
I am staking particularly for Xfinite, XET.
Okay.
So I'm staking Yieldly for XET, and then I'm taking those XET rewards and then pairing them with any excess Yieldly I have, and then staking that in the liquidity pool. And then I'm staking any excess from there in either the XET distribution pool or just like back full circle to create, that kind of great rotation of rewards. But then I'm rolling the ultimate pile of rewards back into AlgoFi to pay off debts. So I'm not even keeping the rewards. So it's not even that exciting.
Yeah. What about you two?
With my loan right now, AlgoFi, I took it. I'm like trying to wait until Algorand get to $2 to $3 and make Algorand pay itself back. So that's my hope. But again, just I'm looking at. I wish Opolis was on Yieldly because that would be the one I'll still be bullish on. But only the HDL and was that the AO token? I don't know exactly what it was, but the price chart was pretty strong.
The Algo Ocean, I think, is what it is.
Yeah. Oh, okay, that's what it was. Yeah, I just knew the price chart. And so with these short-term situations, I'm looking like, okay, have they been solid in the last 2 months? Because I know I'm only getting in and out. I'm not trying to, be a long-term. And Twitter helps me a lot too. I actually be scamming Twitter, like, what is everybody hyped about in Algorand? And then I'm using that as a judgment, if I can make a short-term play off of it.
Well, see,
those two tokens.
Yeah, I would say right now, I'm obviously most bullish on, like I said, Opulus is for sure one of them that obviously it's not on Yieldly, but as far as the ASAs go, I'm in just the ones that pay me the highest yield. And I've been swapping it every day for algo, which is about netting me anywhere between 10 to 15 algo, depending upon price and whatnot. And obviously earning more Yieldly through the liquidity pools. But one thing that I think is interesting to watch is as Yieldly's been announcing these, pools that are coming up, like they just did. I think over this next week, you could already start to swap for some of those now, getting ready for hopefully the pop to come. Now, obviously, the market could be red and it might not come, but if the market stays where it's been with these things launching their pools, we've seen a decent pop, whether it be 20% to 50%, and some of them I've even seen north of 100% when they get listed on Yieldly.
Oh yeah. I want to pivot because I made a video about the Para wallet, the Algorand wallet. What's y'all take on that one and how you feel? And did you do the upgrade?
I have upgraded it. I don't really use I don't use the Algorand wallet as much though. I use the MyAlgo wallet for most of mine. And so that, I think it's awesome. I love the whole, the new CEO of the Algorand Foundation. I like the idea of getting more marketing and making it more appealing. And I think that just the looks of it, the aesthetics of it are way better. I'm excited for the whole NFT stuff where you'll be able to see the NFTs instead of it just being like an ID and whatnot in your wallet. Yes. So I think that's really cool. And so, yeah, I'm bullish on it. I just don't use that wallet as much as right now my Algo wallet.
Yeah, I haven't upgraded yet. I've done a little bit of research on it. I certainly like it. I think more wallets should come out because, we only have just a couple of options, and, a couple of options is never good. Always competition is good. But I do like that they have NFT integration on their roadmap, as well as, some people are concerned that it might pose a little bit of competitive threat to DeFi because they're looking to add in-app trading to Tinyman, which I guess could be to some degree. But if you look at DeFi's roadmap, I mean, they're looking to integrate with every DEX on Algorand, not just Tinyman. They're looking to integrate with all of the bridges that pop up. I've heard, word through their Discord that they're trying to also incorporate various like staking and yield farming pools and literally be the one-stop app where you just go to the app and you can put tokens in a Yieldly pool, you can put tokens in an AlgoFi pool, you could borrow from it, you can trade from any DEX that you want. So like that is the intention of the app. So I'm not too concerned that Parrot is going to take the competitive edge there. But even if it does, competition is good. It's only going to make the stronger survive and innovate even more. So things will only be better in the long run with the competition. So I'm not too worried about that.
Yeah. I agree with all those points, and I'm hyped. Because again, if you use was it MetaMask or Crypto.com DeFi wallet or something of that nature, they have all these integrations built in where you never have to leave your phone app, and you can trade, swap, invest, stake, look at NFTs. So for Parrot Wallet to do that, I think that just helps with the mass adoption, because then it looks similar to Ethereum. It has all of those same elements. And smart thing too, I looked at my phone. They're the only app that I have that's all yellow, so it's good for the eyes. You can swipe through your phone and like it stands out. So they kind of also remind me of possibly the Walmart logo. I think that's what it was.
Oh yeah, I can see
funny.
it there.
Yeah. So I think even the branding design was smart, because I use yellow on all my promotion and stuff.
Yeah,
that's really funny.
Yeah. But that's some other things.
I didn't even
What else?
consider.
What else y'all got? You got any news from EthDenver? I didn't get to make it. I had to cancel due to a family emergency, but I was supposed to be out there.
Dude, I really wish I was able to make it there, but I unfortunately did not get there.
I thought about posting an update when they were showing how cold it was waiting in line, because that day I was in the pool and it was like 87 degrees here. So I did not go. Right? Yeah, I didn't go, and I'm kind of fine that I didn't go. I would be interested to see like how much of, because I know that's an ETH conference and whatnot for the developers. I'm excited to hear the Recoup and his kind of tell all about what he experienced there, because I'd like to know how big was Algorand promoted there, like how many people were maybe how many developers, how many just enthusiasts and investors maybe just learned about Algorand and they didn't, or it wasn't on their radar before. So that's going to be something I'm excited to see coming out of it, is just, and especially with the grant. I think that was the big news that got dropped, was the big grant to bridge Algorand and ETH. So I'm excited to see how adoption goes from here.
Do you know how long EthDenver is?
I do not. I thought it was just like,
I think it's over this weekend, like on the 20th.
Yeah.
Okay,
it's like Tuesday to Wednesday or Saturday, I think.
Okay, because I thought it was at least like 5 to 7 days long. So I think there's plenty more to come out, but also
Ranch is just 2 days. That was their event. It was 2 days.
Oh, yeah,
okay, that's okay. I've seen a lot of updates on the Algo Ranch.
Because I know EthDenver themselves, they're not like publicly airing anything yet, because obviously people paid money to view it virtually. And same thing, like Algorand couldn't post a lot of their things publicly because of that. They were able to post some things, but not everything. So I do suspect that once EthDenver's over, we'll see a lot more information piling out. And I'd love to have like a really concise write-up of everything I missed, because I have not been able to keep up with it whatsoever.
No. It seems like, again, kind of remind me of Decipher. There was the most exciting thing is that C3 $10 million grant, but we also know C3 doesn't have a fully working product, so they can't give us any demos or anything.
Not yet. Not yet. I mean, not yet. They did show us like a week or two ago them performing a trade through MetaMask that did interact with both Algorand and Ethereum, which was pretty dope. And I do plan on having them on the show. I'm in contacts with both of them right now to hopefully have them on the show over the next couple of weeks as we get closer to their product coming out. So I'm super excited about that, because I'd love to learn more personally. The only question I see real quick, just so we can get to it, we see one question right here, Vesta Equity. I feel like I could answer this pretty well, because I Michael Carpentier was actually he's the CEO of Vesta
First one
Equity.
on your channel, right?
He was the first dude to come on my channel. To give me a shot when my channel was small. The sound quality was still bad. All that. But he's actually coming on a Twitter space that this girl Sarah and I are hosting on Monday. We've been hosting Twitter spaces every Monday. I don't know if you guys joined, but if not, you guys definitely should. But yeah, he's coming on our Twitter space on Monday. It's a really interesting project because unlike Lofty AI, which is tokenizing entire properties for you to invest in, Vesta Equity is tokenizing home equity, which is, for those that don't know, home equity is essentially, say you buy a house for $400,000, you get a mortgage for $400,000, and then you pay it off, and your house is now worth like, $500,000, but your mortgage is only, down to $200,000. Now you have $300,000 of equity built up into that house. And typically what homeowners do to access that equity if they need it is take out a line of credit known as a HELOC, or a home equity line of credit. And this is obviously a form of debt that they have to pay back, and the collateral is the house. So essentially, if you don't pay it back, they can put a lien up against your house. So what Vesta Equity is doing is allowing homeowners to tokenize that home equity and sell it to investors and access that money in that equity without going into debt, because they sold it instead of put it up as collateral to borrow against. And at the end, like if you go to sell your house, say you sold 10% of your house's equity, when the home sale closes, you'd keep 90%, and that 10% would go to the investors. So it's a super simple process that allows people to access the equity in their homes without going into debt. And the latest figures from the Federal Reserve is that the United States home equity is reaching about $24 trillion this year. So it's a really huge market, and it's a really, really interesting way for, like I said, for homeowners to access their home equity, but also for investors to create a more personalized real estate portfolio.
Yeah. And imagine as this whole ecosystem continues to expand, like we see, Vesta Equity and we see Lofty AI, imagine as more and more and more companies come online and start building these D apps, and you see more money start flowing into and more assets flowing into Algorand's ecosystem. That's how the total volume is going to really start to blow off. And we're going to see, that's when we say, I've seen people put comments, what's a realistic market cap, or what's a realistic price for Algo in the future. And some people think it's hard to believe of, Algorand reaching 1 trillion, because that's, Bitcoin, it was so big for Bitcoin, it to hit 1 trillion. And it's like, but you got to think 5, 10, 15 years down the road as more of these things come online, and I don't think it's that far out of reach.
No. When you say 5 to 10 years, it's not all the institutional investors are the ones that's going to help, boost it up, because we give all our money to the institutions, and they're going to give it to Algorand and a full cycle. Go ahead, JT.
No, I was just going to say that, I do completely agree with what you were saying, David, especially because if Bitcoin could hit $1 trillion, it just makes complete sense that Algorand could, because Algorand can offer the world so much more than Bitcoin can. Bitcoin is a great store of value, but Algorand could literally power much of the financial system. And as we just said, the home equity market alone is a $24 trillion market in just the United States. And then you start adding the derivatives market, which is another 20, 30, $40 trillion market. Some estimates have it in the 100 plus. So it's like, it's at least multiple tens of trillions of dollars just in derivatives, and tens of trillions of dollars just in home equity. And that's just United States. So
one country. Woof.
That's what I'm saying. And that's where it's like when I've been putting out a lot of, just Twitter polls and just gauging people's, ideas of where they're at and where they think stuff. And it's like, I feel like, and I said, I've not been in the crypto markets for as long as some people have. I wasn't a Bitcoin, buyer when it first started, but there are videos you can go find of people thinking, obviously way before Bitcoin was $100, that there's no way it could get there. And then when it crossed it, like the elation of people like literally live streaming and doing videos of watching that happen. And now people are literally talking about Bitcoin being $1 million one day. I really think people need to broaden their idea of what something like Algorand could be, in the future, if everything does end up going into the blockchain space, and we start seeing, the ones that are there and have the best tech, which I think Algorand does, start to take over a lot of that, volume that's out there and the money that's out there. I mean, even with a 10 billion circulating supply, when you take a global economy and you're taking down borders, I mean, there's no telling.
Because like it's huge to see how El Salvador adopted Bitcoin. Like, so what is the first country y'all thinking that's going to adopt Algorand as their financial infrastructure? So that's the big question.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of Latin America is going to be one of the biggest.
Africa and Latin America will be huge.
Yeah, I mean, El Salvador's already building out some of their infrastructure on Algorand. The Marshall Islands is one of the first, in fact, I believe the first country. It's a very small country to make central bank digital currency. Like, it's hard to actually say if it's a central bank digital currency because they don't have a central bank, but it is their government's currency running on Algorand. So I guess for lack of a better term, it's still a CBDC.
It's a CB. I want to say shout out to Hulk Algorand, always supporting on there.
What's up, brother?
Right.
So funny guy.
He's great.
Yes, that's dope. But just let y'all know, I got about 5 minutes. I got
5 minutes. The clock is ticking.
So
what's up, everybody in the chats? I mean, we seem to have a lot of people watching at this point. 29 people. I appreciate everyone that's tuning in. If you have anything you want us to discuss over the next couple minutes, just drop it in the chat.
So what are you guys thinking for the remainder of 2022? What is your all's plan? Are you guys already in a accumulation phase, like with your crypto, or are you more or less waiting to see kind of the broader market, the broader world?
My philosophy is this, right? Cash broke, asset rich. That's all I do. I ain't never got cash, So because I'm always working for it just to go buy some more assets. That's all I do.
Yeah.
See, that's funny. I mean,
so I don't care. Yeah.
I mostly agree, but I also feel like my strategy right now is kind of the opposite, where I'm like just focusing on building that cash position. I'm like creating different plans to increase my like different revenue streams of like cash flow. And I'm really honestly just trying to stockpile it until I feel comfortable to unload it into the market. I mean, the ultimate goal is to funnel it into the market. I'm just not gung-ho about doing it at this current second.
Right. Now once you get that pile, whatever it is, maybe the market's come down enough, how are you going to funnel it in? Are you going to funnel it in through, a diversified, looking at like equity, like the tokens and buying stuff on Lofty and looking at different things like other ASAs? Or are you primarily just going to be looking at the big ones that are out there, like Algorand, and trying to ride up the next bull market?
Well, I'll be honest. I don't think I'm going to stop buying Lofty AI tokens. I know a lot of people think that's a little weird because if they, if someone like me thinks the crypto market and the equity market could tank, why don't I think the real estate market would also tank? And I think it could a little bit, especially with interest rates coming up. I mean, I'm working with buyer clients right now, and they've already had their interest rate gone up like 2 different times throughout the course of looking for a house. So they're really trying to get in one and lock in that interest rate. So I feel like that could affect house prices a little bit, but we're not seeing all of the same pockets of risk that we saw in 2008, those bad subprime mortgages, people spending way too much money on things that they couldn't afford. We're just not seeing that same level of issues. So even though home prices are inflated, I don't really see them coming down that much. So for me, I'm still buying real estate tokens. When it comes to the broader market, I do have like a basket of 10 stocks that I want to get into. I do have like 2 options trades I want to time out when the time is right. And otherwise, I have a list of probably 30 cryptos I'm looking at. I'll probably get into like 5 to 10 of them, to be honest. I probably won't get into all 30.
Yeah. No, I like that strategy. That's dope. Because once I get enough bag, it's definitely I'm buying. It might sound funny, but I'm buying gold. I'm buying silver, right? Literally physical, and then pushing into real estate. I love the Lofty token. So anything in real estate, I think is legit. And then again, more cryptos. Like I believe strongly in the cryptos. And then like JT said, I have some stocks that I believe are ultimate, and they will also never go down. Like stocks like Google, for example, is always a win. So yeah, diversifying into multiple asset classes, which I already do now, but I
Yeah.
want to 10x what I'm doing.
And don't get me wrong, I think the crypto market is going to outperform everything over the next like 10, 20 years. However, the equities market and the real estate market is much more assured.
Yes,
The crypto market
yes.
is still very, very risky. We are all still just speculating
Yeah,
that
we're VC
everything.
capitalists, venture capitalists, basically.
We're basically, yeah, exactly. We're just speculating that everything's going to run on blockchain. There's no need to speculate that companies are going to be, selling stocks in the future and that real estate is going to exist and become even more of a hot commodity as the population grows and there becomes less and less land to live on. So,
Yeah, I'm
those
looking
are
into
much.
water too, water investments. Like
Yeah,
we seeing water wars that are going to be coming eventually.
it's good to diversify, but not too much. Also, like obviously, I mean, Warren Buffett has said it the best a couple times, I believe. But diversification, in his words, I mean, I'm not going to get the quote exact, but essentially, diversification or over diversification is for those that don't know any better. It's to protect
Yep.
against ignorance, as he puts it. Um,
Yes.
if
That's why
you
I'm
are
all in on crypto.
well, exactly. If you pick 3 or 4 great things that you put a lot of research into, and even if only 75% of them are winners, if you put the right amount of research into them and you have the right amount of conviction, like they're likely
Yes.
to be the big winners. They're not going to be just like the meme coin that you're crossing your fingers and hoping. It's going to be something that you are so sure of because you put the time and effort to understand how it's going to affect the future.
Yep.
We've
Agreed on
got
that one.
Reworks asking a very interesting question here. JT, do you have any plans to interview Seb again? I would love to speak to Seb again, and I'll be honest and leak a little bit of a private conversation, I suppose. I mean, not too much. It wasn't with Seb, but I've been in contact with Yieldly about another issue that I didn't want to air out publicly because last time I got I got called out for creating FUD and all this nonsense. But so I tried to keep it private, and they're kind of giving me the runaround, and now they haven't answered me in a couple days. So I am thinking of
Uh-oh.
soon making a video if they don't respond, but
Hey.
which I do think would kill my chances at an interview. I'll be honest with that.
I feel like they're like I've had a few people say that Seb would be willing to come on my channel and talk, and I've even had some of the other projects that are out there, reaching out and trying to schedule stuff. But some of it's just like and this kind of goes just to the froth that's in the market, and a lot of the now everybody wants to have the whole team doxed and do all this, someone do all this research to bring it all to light. But it's like even then, even when you really think you have something and it's a good project, you really don't know if their intentions are bad. You could have a good team with a good idea, but bad intentions. And that's where I've I'm not giving so many people so much airtime because, I'm not giving I'm not making my channel just their platform so that they can sound off and attract, people who maybe don't know and aren't going to go do their own research and are just going to watch the video and think, oh, this is a great idea. I'm going to jump headfirst into it.
Yep.
And then boom, they can't handle the volatility. They sell and then they're out money. So, that's the biggest thing that I think I've seen, and I'm being more cautious of when it comes to what I want to put out on my channel and tell people.
Yeah, that's the double-edged sword of the. I really like the interviews I've been doing. I've learned a lot, but it is the double-edged sword of that because I do also have that thought. I'm like, I don't want people to think everything I host on my channel is like a green light to go invest in the project.
Right.
A lot of the times I am just curious about it and wish to learn more. It doesn't mean I'm investing in it or planning to invest in it. In fact, I am not invested in almost every project that's come on my channel. Granted, it's because some of them aren't even out yet. But
that's how I feel about with like NFTs because I'm into them and I do have people on my channel. I'm about to do a giveaway later today for Pixel Lobster. Shout out to him. But at the same time, I don't be buying them.
Yeah.
And I keep it real to the person
hard.
on my channel. I don't buy them. I have bought a few, but it was a particular reason, and I always talk about it. It pays me, and I don't pay it.
Yep.
So that's a different situation.
And I'll be honest, I've had like shady-ish like crypto coins hit me up and like try to get on my show.
I had some shady people in my DM.
those are the ones that I mean, not usually, I always say no to. I mean, I only have people on the show that, I mean, except I think one time, which it would actually ended up being somebody I wanted to have on the show anyway, but I've only had people on the show that I reach out to, that I'm like, I have a list of people. Where is it? Let's see. Do I have this list right here?
Oh yeah, you say you do your own scheduling, huh?
Dude, look, I've got this list of guests that I want to have.
Hey,
And
there you go.
I go through, I write them down, and if something comes up that just like isn't on this list and it's not interesting and it looks like a scam, it doesn't matter. I do not have them on the show.
I
For
feel
sure.
yeah, I'm like, yeah. That shit funny. What they say.
I do want to just comment on Reworks is saying no more FUD and play nice, and I'm trying, honestly. Like, I am still a big Yieldly whale, I suppose. You know, I have I'll be honest, I have like over 2 million Yieldly currently, and I didn't want to sell it. I don't want to sell it. I don't want to be bearish. I don't want to have negative thoughts towards a project that I hold a lot of.
Oh, hell no.
So it's not like I'm trying to FUD, and that's actually part of the reason why this latest concern, I went straight to Yieldly instead of just airing it on a platform. I mean, my Twitter has over 4,000 followers now, so like I got to be conscious that if I post something there, it could cause a spiral effect. So like, you know,
Yep.
but they're also giving me the runaround. So it's like, and in my opinion, it is something that they should bring up to the public. It is something that they should be making aware to their users of. So, and I don't want to be the one that has to do it, especially because they've already been suggested to do it by much more important people than me.
Man, you're gonna have everybody in the comments wondering, like, going and searching.
I know
trying
that
to
shit
find-
funny.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm kind of hoping this little bit of you know,
conversation.
yeah, it kind of leaks, and then Yieldly does the right thing and just answers it themselves.
Yeah,
Because
because honestly, like, I know what you're talking about, but it's like it's something that if they just came out and gave a good explanation, a good good reasoning, it'd be perfectly fine. But if it comes out in the wrong light, kind of like the esports thing does, like you shoot yourself in the foot by just not taking that step and doing the right thing.
Leak Z talking about it's more fun than saying it. You like, say it.
I know. I mean, maybe though. I mean, I don't want to cause any issues.
Italic
Yeah,
is
we'll
actually
drop it.
creator
I
of
want to
this.
say
keep it.
this.
I want to keep the peace for a little bit longer because you
would
know,
say
I do
this,
want to
y'all,
keep the
make
chance
sure
of
you
them
research.
coming back on the show. Yeah. Do your own research,
Just
because
I'll say it, research.
everything that is a concern of mine is in the public domain. So it's not like I'm holding on to like insider knowledge or anything like that.
Yeah, I would say research, and you know, try to DM them yourself. You know, see if you can talk to somebody. I always say that. You don't
Yeah,
never
even
know
if you
who
just
will respond to you.
Even if you just DM him and tell him to answer my question.
That might work.
Everybody go DM Yieldly right now and say, "Hey, JT's got a good question. You better answer it."
They know.
Yeah, that's what
they ignored my
everyone's
message.
doing. Yeah, you got to have the community do it, because that's when I'm like, people are doing it for music for me, but I'm like, you know, I haven't told anybody except right now, but tag Lee Parsons, let's set up a deal. I got this song that I'm trying to push. But yeah, that type of stuff helps. So go tag
Fudsy Malone.
Yieldly as well. Fudsy. Yeah, Hulk is funny on Twitter. Shout out to Hulk.
Yo,
Also,
I mean,
everybody needs to go tweet at Lee Parsons and tell him to get C-Will's songs. Get him as one of the next
I got one for
SNFT
Tiny
artists.
Man. That's a slap.
yeah, and tell him to finally schedule that interview with you that he said.
Right? I know, right? It just kept getting pushed. I literally, at one point, I was like,
Oh shit,
you know,
y'all! I gotta go
whenever
to
you're
my,
ready,
my,
dude, like, you know,
my
reach
devices.
back out. He just kept pushing it and pushing it.
We're about to
my
lose
device.
C-Will.
I got.
All right.
Yeah, we about to lose me. I'm about to be gone. Or we can close it out either way. Got like
Yeah.
3
All right,
minutes,
we're
2
gonna
minutes.
wrap up, everyone. I appreciate everyone that came into the chat and had a nice discussion with us, and everyone that watched to the end. Yeah, and we'll catch you in the next one. Appreciate it.
And shout out to
Hey, everybody.
everybody.
Peace.